It is Wednesday. We are wizards, and it's time for our weekly cult meeting. Wizard Wednesday, channeling in from the Quantum Downs. This is Elf.
And Dotta, hello.
And where the hell is Bearsnake?
Sorry, I was listening to Tool and was getting carried away by the music.
Welcome to Wizard Wednesday, Bearsnake.
Hi, I'm back from the woods.
Bearsnake's back from the woods.
I had to do a little hibernation for a week. It was good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I myself am going to be doing a little hibernating at the end of this month. Fair warning. I am not rugging. I'm just taking a little vacation.
How dare you, sir?
Today is a big show. I'm not even sure if we're going to get through all the things that I've got on my docket. Tons of things to talk about, but let's start out with just a little bit of housekeeping. Last week we talked about dynamic NFTs, and we decided to tell all the naysayers to go F themselves, and we're going to do what we want. Okay, just kidding. We're not doing that. No, you guys had some great input. We heard all the opinions loud and clear, and I think for now that the whole dynamic NFT operation will be put on ice, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Unless you have anything to add, Dotta or Bearsnake?
No.
I like ice.
All right. Put it on ice. Next quick thing. A lot of you are asking about the TED Talk that I did. Great question. I myself have been wondering a lot about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so the update is the people at TED have sent me a rough cut. So that is done. I look like a total dork in all of it. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to give them a bunch of motion graphics to put over the footage of me. So it's in a really big motion graphics phase right now. That might take another few more weeks, but it's totally happening. And I don't know, maybe in like 2-3 more weeks, it'll be ready to drop. That's the TED Talk. And then actually, where's Jitcy? Is Jitcy in? Oh, there's Jitcy. Jitcy, I'm gonna bring you up. The hold on, Jitcy. Are you invite to speak? So let me just skip that for a second. Retcon. This is another thing we've been talking about a lot. This is just essentially this thing that Dotta and I have been wanting to do for a long time, where we just fix a bunch of spelling errors and mislabels in the collection.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
talk
go
about
for
this
it,
for a
Dotta.
minute. Yeah, we
Yep.
have time. So for the Redcon, it's been a while since really the beginning, when we kind of like had a few little things of metadata that we've wanted to change on the wizards. And there's basically 4 categories of things. But before I get into that, I think really the way to think about this is it's like, well, Dotta, aren't the wizards stored immutably on chain? And the answer is yes. Kind of let's say the provenance of wizards is completely immutably stored on chain. You can find the instructions and the directions on how to download it from on chain from the decoder crystal. There's even a blog post about that. And so really any kind of changes that we make to the metadata won't affect that, which can be considered, let's say, maybe the true provenance. That said, the unicorn horn is labeled as Venus flytrap, and that just bugs us to no end, and we want to change it. So so in order to change it, what we would basically do is there's an IPFS link. Forgive me for being technical, but within the NFT contract, it points to an IPFS hash, which contains the pointer to the metadata, and that's what gets displayed on OpenSea. Currently, I hold the private keys in order to update that hash, and so what we would basically do is agree to a set of changes, and we would change that hash, and it would update the metadata everywhere. There's really like 4 classes of changes that we're looking at. Number one is like stuff that Elf and I just want to change that we're going to change. And there's just two things on that list. And it's the unicorn horn is mislabeled, and one of the heads is called Death Eater. And there's some like ambiguity copyright wise with regards to like Wizarding World, like Harry Potter, basically. And so we're renaming that to Corpse Eater. Those are basically the two things that we're like, we definitely need to do these. After there's actually a couple of bodies that maybe have like confusing color names. Where like a red cloak is a green cloak is like labeled a red cloak or something. And so we want to actually rename some of those bodies to be like a little more interesting, and we'll kind of share what we're considering there. The third thing is there's been some kind of like controversy around, not controversy, but like opinions around what do we do about honorary heads and bodies, right? Some people say we should get rid of the honorary names and rename them something better. Some people say no, we leave them the way that they are. The way that they are is fixed. Some people say, well, we just want to change the art check head name because that's the only one we like the least, and so maybe we do that. Part of the reason why this process has taken me like since last October or whatever is because every time I bring it up to like actually make a hard decision, a lot of people have a lot of conflicting opinions. And so really what I'm doing right now is like pressing through the opinions and like kind of just making a decision. So, do you think we should change the art check head? Somebody post a poll in the Discord and we can vote up or down about that. And then the fourth thing is affinity. Affinity is something that basically it was originally from the Wizards collection, and it's this idea that the different traits have kind of like this core energy that causes them to be cohesively tied together. And we didn't publish affinity on day one because it was a little confusing, and we wanted it to be secret sauce. And then it wasn't very long before people decoded it. And there was a sort of affinity calculation that Jin Tao originally did on Wizard's Guide. And, so we people liked it so much that we published affinity for souls. We published affinity for warriors. And now there's been a lot of requests like, let's publish affinity for wizards. Two complications there. One is Jin Tao's affinity calculation. I don't necessarily consider it canon. Like, I think he did a good job. But like, I actually have my own sort of opinions on a couple of the edge cases. So the question is like, well, do we publish Dotta's affinity score? What if that like changes the rarity of someone's expected rarity of their wizard, right? Like, I'm very careful about kind of changing perceived rarity metrics because for some people that could have like economic consequences. So just treading very carefully at the same time, we've been treading very carefully by taking 9 months to even get here. So I think we're just gonna like make a decision, pass it around, let people decide. People can voice if they have sort of problems. Really, the default option is just leave everything as is. Right?
No.
We change the unicorn. Well, we change the unicorn horn and the Death Eater, but like,
Okay.
do we?
Yep. Spelling
But
errors
I
and
think
mislabels are not up for debate. They're changing. But
right, those
everything
are
else,
changing.
sure.
But like anything that changes rarity metrics, like affinity, I feel like if we can't kind of reach sort of consensus as a community, then it's like, well, if you want to see affinity, go look at Forgotten Market. Yeah, so that's the retcon, and basically, technically it's done. Technically, I have all of the data like figured out. It's literally just around like as a community making sort of decisions on these like particular details that are maybe somewhat boring, but affect everyone.
Yeah, I know a lot of you have been like DMing me with just general spelling errors here and there. Please keep doing that. I'm notorious for making spelling errors. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys are doing that. But yeah, so that's the retcon. Anything else on that, Dotta?
Nope.
Okay, Jitcy, I see you're here. Yeah, you wanted to talk about the biomes in the Runiverse game.
What up, party people? Can you guys hear me?
Hello. Yep.
What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to spread some light on that blog post that went out today, right? And kind of showcasing the biomes. And I know that you've been working with the team elf to kind of like get that to where it's at and, giving it a thumbs up. And I think everyone here can confidently say that it showcases the vastness of what this game is going to be. I think it's super exciting because as you read through that blog post and what they're doing, they're setting the stage for something that's going to be greater than what is a traditional game, in my opinion, to where I think we have this constant conversation, at least I do in my head, maybe it's just to myself and my other Kobold self, is that like, how can we make this game like not just enjoyable for 5 or 6 months, but for 5 to 10 to 20 years. And I think that's like there's steps you have to take, and you don't want to build yourself into a corner. And this showcased the blog and the biomes and like the lore that's placed into it and the depth of what's being created sets that stage. So I think it's really exciting, and I just want to give kudos and shout out to the team that's doing all this, because I think it's truly amazing, and it will allow us to build and scale into those things we really want to make happen. And not to and to mention as well is that like all the art that I'm seeing from the biomes and what's being created is just like so it's I'm like hypnotized by the art at this point, because you can kind of see like the polarized biomes, but that's needed in a game of MMOs, that's needed in RPGs. Be able to go from like the tundra over to the grassland and stuff, and be able to see the difference as you walk through it in this vast, enormous world. Just getting me really excited. So I guess I just wanted to hop up here and say thumbs up. Looking forward to the future, and anything you want to add to that, Elf. But it looks beautiful. First and foremost.
It certainly does. I love talking to the art team at Bisonic. They're great about just collaborating with me. Another thing that maybe hasn't been revealed yet, but I've been seeing a lot of new creatures and monsters and enemies and NPCs that yeah, I guess they like weren't available in the beta version that was at our party, but I think like once those get in there, it's just going to add obviously like a whole new level of life to this world. But yeah, the backgrounds on the biomes are looking amazing, and I also just want to say I'm very much like I want Bisonic to just really own this, and by that I mean like I want them to feel like this is very much their creation and not something that I'm just like rigidly directing from afar. And so, eventually there may be like pretty big differences between what's in the game and what's in the show and what's in the comic. But like the essence, I think, will always like remain the same throughout all these media expressions. And it's going to be interesting to see not only what's the same, but what's different throughout these different expressions. You look at like the Legend of Zelda and Hyrule. Like Hyrule is totally different in every single Zelda game out there, or like Gotham City is very different in each iteration of Batman. But there's also constants, and I think it's really fun that the game is going to be its own thing, and it'll have some overlap with the show or the comic. So, yeah, I don't know.
Essence is a good word. It's a great word. I think if you can have the essence be the same across everything that's being built, that's something pretty magical, right? So, good word usage there.
Yep. Yeah, and I also just want to say, like, Jitcy has been just so great about just having an open dialogue with the Bisonic team. I know that Matto, you've been working with them a lot too. So it's just great to see your influence on this game as well.
Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that the team at Bisonic is actually very interested in like knowing as much as possible about like what the cult wants. Like they pretty much like told me like anytime there's like any kind of like cult memes or anything or any kind of discussion that happens around like what may be interested in, like put into the game, they want to know that like they can, because I'm so ingrained in the community, I'm always around. Like it's always good to kind of like pick my head for that feedback. They're trying their best to make sure that it's a game that really feels like obviously it's like Elf said, they want to build out a game that's their own, but also want to make sure that they know exactly like who they're building the game for and like what they're doing with it. That makes it feel like the best experience that they can put out there. And I'm really excited for everything that they have planned to come along. The biome post I think was great because it showcased that even though the area that we played for the frog hunt was so huge, there's just such a vast amount of world that is also just going to be included in the game as well, and it's going to develop even further as the map expands. So really excited, and all the art that's coming out from the team is amazing. I love everything that they're showing. I think just earlier this week, I think they showed the rat monster. And other cool monsters that are down the line that I'm excited for when they eventually do show, and it's just great work all around.
Totally agree. Yeah, I could talk about the game for a lot. I even saw a bunch of like passes on UI and menus and all that,
Yeah.
and even that is looking really fun.
100%. That's looking great. I think there's like some previews that we're like slowly drip feeding previews. I think like there's a lot that I think would be cool to start showing off like real soon. I think the rest of the team does as well as we get closer to that land sale, which it was as everybody knows, it was delayed because of market conditions, and it kind of gives like the team some more work to do. Like that way when it actually releases, there's more for you to do than what we initially planned. But yeah, just keep an eye out. Like we have the blog post that came out today, but there's going to be a lot more of information just gradually drip feeding more and more constantly as we get closer to that sale.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that blog post, by the way. It's like it's just it could just run so deep, and it's just one aspect. I'm so excited, and Matt, I was so happy that you're like on that side too.
I also think that Jeldor is planning on coming on Wizard Wednesday next week, or maybe Coffee with Magic Machine. I'll find out.
Great.
Yeah, one of the two. There was discussions about having an appearance very soon, so keep an eye on that. And we're going to announce whether it's coffee or on Wizard Wednesday.
Why not both?
Awesome.
Sweet.
Maybe both.
Cool. And then another thing I wanted to mention is Dr. Slurp has been working on something super interesting. In fact, Slurp, why don't I just let you just intro it?
Thanks, man. What's up, everybody?
Slurp.
What's good? So I've been, we're collecting some data because we're doing a study on what is the GDP of a metaverse. Now that all these metaverses, like the Runiverse and so many other cool ones, we want to kind of measure their economic output for various reasons. Like it could be cool to compare different metaverses and look at the different ways to measure things. And one of the things we want to measure is commissions between members within the community, and what community is perfect for that. Forgotten Runes, there's so many commissions. Everybody's making art, commissioning poems, commissioning songs for their wizards and warriors and souls and beasts. So I put together a form where we're asking everybody to disclose how much they've been spending on their commissions, whether you're a commissioner or commissionee, like someone buying art, or someone who's even if you're making art, you could fill out this form. Just tell us what wizard or token you've made art for, or commissioned art for, and how much the commission was for. And that's basically all we need. And also the date of when the commission was. And that's all we need. We're going to keep your data private. Like we're never going to publish like, oh, this wallet commissioned this art for this token for this much money. Like we're only going to share the data in aggregate. So like the commissions over time and like the amount of the commissions over that time. And part of the reason we want to do this is to help like point to the strength of the community of Forgotten Runes. Like I feel like we're a one of a kind community, and we have like one of the largest commission markets, and we want to be able to actually measure that and point to that and show everybody how strong we are. And I'll give a couple of hints about the data we've collected so far. I think we've collected about information for about 40 different commissions, and it's almost $30,000 of commissions, which is a huge amount of money.
That's insane.
And I know that's not everything. Like I know there's a ton of people who do tons of commissions, and a ton of like, not whales, but a ton of people who just have like 10 plus commissions or 10 plus pieces of lore that other people made for their characters. So I want to get your data in. So I retweeted the link. I think it's also in Discord, but if somebody can retweet it from the main account so everybody can see. And if you need help getting your data in, or are confused, or want to talk to me about the privacy about it, either DM me on Twitter or on Discord. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Slurp, did the main account not retweet it yesterday?
They replied to it.
Okay, gotcha.
But I just retweeted it from mine if you want to retweet it.
Yeah, post the URL on the Secret Tower right now.
Yeah, we'll retweet.
And yeah, if you commissioned artwork, fill it out right away.
Hey,
that's
Slurp.
great. Like
Sorry.
That's amazing that it's $30,000 for 4 pieces of artwork. That feels like an amazing number, but also unsurprising. But then it also just feels like a fraction. That's probably like
that's only like 40 commissions, and we know that there've been hundreds.
Right.
Also, Slurp, if you want, we can discuss if you want some of our data in terms of what we've commissioned. If it's interesting, I know maybe it doesn't fit perfectly in the model, but we're happy to talk to you about it.
I mean,
Yeah, that would
it's
help
part of the
too.
economy, so we should do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
All right,
awesome to talk.
Let's do it. Let's talk. We'll figure it out. I'll DM you.
Yeah, hit me up. Thanks for the time, you guys, and y'all are doing amazing stuff. So carry on.
Love your PFP, man.
No,
Thanks.
thank you, Slurp. I mean, it's important because we at Magic Machine are engaging with a lot of partners who are very interested in this sort of data. I know you, Bear, like this kind of data carries a lot of weight with people you're talking to, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, not everybody, not everybody understands the depth of what's happening here, and sometimes it's easier to communicate that through like hard numbers. So yeah, no, I love it. It's cool. It's cool to put data and analytics against creativity. There's like interesting things can come from that.
Yeah, it's not that like the money matters about everything, but I feel like quantifying this helps set us apart from just like being like a small fan art community to being like, oh, like we're actually making content,
Oh,
and people are making
100%.
money off of it.
Yeah, it's definitely not the money's not the most important thing, but it is an interesting metric, and it, like we said, it's definitely it's a powerful thing to see what's happening in this. Like I don't know, you could call it our own little sort of creator economy, which is neat.
Exactly.
Well,
That phrase you use, the GDP of the Runiverse. I mean, that's very memeable. That's a strong phrase.
Yeah. I just want to know what counts as government spending.
Right. I'm just going to call out two amazing pieces of cult content that I saw this week. Number one, Tanya's comic. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago, but it looks like it's finished now. Holy crap, Tanya, that comic is gorgeous. I love what you did with the ramen noodles.
Oh, ramen.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, my God, you need like an entire physical book with that. Like, I just love that style, and the story you wrote is great. So I don't know. It's one of my favorite things I've seen in a long time.
Kobolds and ramen, say less, right?
Yeah. What more do you need? Oh, and another thing I noticed is like she drew the kobold with ears and not horns, and I gotta say, seeing that drawing is like really tipped me over into the ear camp. Um, I
Let's
love.
go.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So yeah, Tanya, that was awesome. And then another thing that really stood out to me was Sammy Kitty and Baron Von Fancy, the blood and guts hat. I don't know if we already talked about it, but like I know like you guys sent some of those hats to the Bear Cave a few days ago. Is that right, Bear?
I'm literally wearing it right now,
Amazing.
and I think I may have fallen asleep with it on last night.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
taking it off.
No, it's so great. You're spreading blood and guts all around, and I love it.
I ordered a coffee this morning, and like the I don't even know if I call them a barista, but the person who handed me the coffee like looked at my hat, and they were like, "Is that like a pile of flesh and bone?" And I said, it is." I said, "I prefer to call it blood and guts. Thank you very much."
You should have just said a wizard sacrificed themselves to the sacred flame, and you just walked up.
I think they would have escorted me out.
Yeah, and then just one other quick thing before we get Dotta back on. Sammy also did this really cool Animal Crossing Forgotten Runes like crossover thing. I don't know. I've never played Animal Crossing, but it just looked super
What?
cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
it looks
I
so
know.
good.
I know.
That made me want to do like a Dota Shield hoodie. Like when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, we need to do merch of that." Is my mic any better?
I think it is.
A
Yeah, way
little
better.
bit, a little
It
bit.
sounds
Yeah.
better to me.
You think
Yeah.
it is? That doesn't sound like a real answer, but we'll try it.
No, that's better. It's better.
It's better.
Also,
But yeah, go ahead, Dotta.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say really one quick.
please.
The cool thing about the Animal Crossing is that anybody can download it if you have the game, and like you just choose the code that she posted. You could download those designs in your game. Just wanted to get that small shout out.
Now we just need to
Fantastic.
buy a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. More cult content later, but Dotta, go ahead with your. I know you had a big, let's call it a rant maybe this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there's basically a couple different parts, right? So I think that there's actually really two different parts of this conversation. One part would be around the idea of like moonbirds converting to CC0 without telling anyone, or like really communicating their thought process behind it, right? I mean, so like the team there is obviously good, right? So I'm not necessarily trying to criticize that team, but like at the same time, I don't feel like their message of like why they felt moonbirds needed to be CC0 like came across effectively. Um, and so that like really it got me kind of like um, it was really an opportunity for me to like talk through sort of my ideas around CC0 and like why we go with licenses. Um, and so, well, like one of the things that I think about with let's talk about CC0 and then we can talk about like licensing for kind of like Forgotten Runes overall, and like royalties and all these things. So like the CC0 in my mind is basically this idea, right, that you're releasing your IP to the public domain. And so it's not very good if your project is trying to like capture value from the IP. Why? Because like if I just say, "Oh, you can use anything for Forgotten Runes for free," then like why would you ever pay to use Forgotten Runes IP? And so like because no one will pay for the IP, then it also kind of like limits the people that will invest in like making that IP very well known. And the other thing that you get with when you make something CC0 is you don't really get like brand protection, right? Like there's no real way for like bigger companies, they want to be able to have a way to like make sure that if they're going to invest in the brand, that there is some level of like control over it. So it works for nouns for sure because like nouns has it built into their product, right? Like nouns has this idea that we've created these nouns, they're CC0, and when you buy a noun, all the money goes into a DAO, and then that DAO is dedicated to increasing the value of that noun, right? So it works for nouns because it's like integrated into the product, but it wouldn't work for Forgotten Runes because we're basically trying to build a franchise. Like when you think about CC0, like CC0 is super Darwinian, right? And licenses are more communal. CC0 is like hyper capitalistic and licenses are monopolistic. And so let me like explain what I mean by that, right? So there was a tweet that was going around by Noun 40. Maybe I can even share it. There's a tweet going around by him where he basically says that like Noun's economic model is centered around maximizing the future provenance value. And so that actually is a pretty new idea for that people are starting to become aware with NFTs, right? And so, so if someone can find that tweet and share it here. Oh, here we go. Well, anyway, that idea that like that you're creating an entity that's trying to increase provenance value rather than like maximizing future revenue or future cash flow is like really subtle. Okay, so like what do you mean by that, like Dotta? Like what do you mean by the provenance value? Well, the idea is that like so provenance, the value that you get from like provenance, or some people call it like provenance, right? It's this value that accrues because of like the belief in the origin of the work. So again, to take a cliche, like let's take the Mona Lisa, right? And so like the Mona Lisa has these parts. There's like a gamut of the value, right? So there's like the physical board that the Mona Lisa is printed on. There's like the pigment that it's printed on, and then there's like the image of the Mona Lisa, right? So you can like print an image of the poster of the Mona Lisa, and then there's just like the Mona Lisa itself, right? And so like, why is it that the Mona Lisa itself is valuable? That's because it's like that is the Mona Lisa, right? Someone threw whipped cream on it. It like exists in the Louvre, and like it has, it has its origin story of who painted it. And so like that value of being the true Mona Lisa is the provenance. And so like one of the good things about CC0 is that I think that like it's Darwinian, right? Like may the best content win. It's very individualistic, right? Insofar as you're like competing in a market for ideas and like there's no one party that owns the IP. Anybody can use it for free like whenever they want. And there's something really nice about that because like the best idea wins. if you create the best content with a noun, then you're going to be the one that's featured, and anybody can do it. But yeah, so that's the Darwinian side. Whereas kind of with like licenses, it's a bit more communal, right? Because it's like we own a license to this content, like as a group, right? Like instead of just being like the best idea wins, where we have to like be all competing with each other, we're actually all pulling in the same direction because we all own a license to Forgotten Runes exclusively as a community. And like this idea that when I like maybe criticize CC0 saying that it's hyper capitalistic, what it means is that like nouns expects that they own the value accruing to the provenance by owning the noun NFT, right? Anybody can create on top of my provenance, but you can never capture the lasting value from it, right? That like CC0 expects other people to make content and share memes of their IP, but then they retain all the value in the provenance, right? It's, you know, content for the provenance for me. And so like you build on top of CC0, but then like someone else captures all the value, which is like super capitalistic idea. Licenses, on the other hand, like what we do with Forgotten Runes, they're a lot more monopolistic. And like usually we associate monopolies with like something negative, right? Like you're like, oh, someone has a monopoly, they're gonna like treat other people unfairly. But like if you own the monopoly, like monopolies are great when you own the monopoly, right? Because you benefit from that privileged position and you don't actually have to compete on the open market. So like I don't know if you're familiar with like Peter Thiel, but he has this like really interesting philosophy where it's that like monopolies are positive forces because when you own the market on something, you can think long term, you can set your own prices, like you have exclusive control to whatever you're offering. And that like when people have to compete with one another, you're wasting resources like fighting against your brother, right? That makes competition, like competition makes your profit smaller. It wastes a ton of energy because you're fighting versus like actually making progress. And so like by being able to license what we have, we're able to capture value as a community, and we're not like competing with one another in this like open market for ideas because we are the only ones who can commercialize Forgotten Runes IP. So I'm not necessarily making like a value judgment either way insofar as what's better, but I just think that like teams need to be super careful about what assumptions they're like putting into the licenses in their approach, and ultimately like nouns are going to be successful, right? It's like you basically have to create an IP that people want to pay for. You have to have an IP that people like care about. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think that's basically my like CC0 is a really good meme, but I just like don't think that it's a good way to capture value from IP.
It's just not totally right for us for what we're trying to do. I remember a few months ago, a journalist asked us if I don't remember exactly how they asked us, but if they said, is your IP totally top down or totally bottom up? And we were like, well, it's a hybrid, and we are trying to leverage the strengths of both of these directions. And I think that still holds very true. Our hybrid model, right, Dotta? I mean, don't you think like I think we're just
Yeah,
like we're using the strengths
well,
of both of these.
well, and I think that's also another aspect that we're trying to figure out too, which is this idea that we talk about every single day, which is we're working out a system to be able to pay to pay parties who license their Forgotten Runes IP. You know, we have to be careful with like not creating NFTs like triggering securities laws. And so like, you know, the idea that you kind of earn passive revenue simply for holding a token, that's almost like the definition of a security. But when you kind of like create IP and you license IP, there's probably an opportunity there under like certain conditions where we might be able to pay royalties based on an IP that other people pay for. And so, like, that's something that we're talking a lot about that no one has really done really effectively. And we think a lot about, like, well, how do we communicate this? How do we think about these, like, different examples? So, for example, let's take, like, the quantum style t shirt, right? So, in this case, you have a wizard that's owned by Dialectic, but then you have this interpretation of the quantum of like the keymaster being like a like this muscle man character. Like that was an interpretation created by Magic Machine, right? And then we encoded that character in the trailer as Magic Machine. Then we designed the shirt as Magic Machine with Riley. And then there's like, we sold merch itself, right? And so then when we sell that merch, the question is like, well, who should get a royalty? Should the wizard owner Dialectic get a royalty? Should part of the community get a royalty? You know, and that's what we're doing with this merch, right? Is we're giving back to the community. That feels like maybe okay because we took a wizard that someone else owns, but we like built all of kind of the IP on top of it, right? But let's take like a different example. Like let's take the Shroom Shack again, my favorite example with Wise Sam, which is like, you know, Wise Sam owns the wizard Duzzle, who works in the Shroom Shack, right? And Wise Sam created the lore of the Shroom Shack. Wise Sam commissioned the artwork of the Shroom Shack. And then like let's say that like Magic Machine wants to do like Shroom Shack's cereal or something. Like that's a bit different than I think than like the He-Man style Keymaster, because now Magic Machine is basically building merch on top of the lore that another wizard kind of invented that's like adjacent to the wizard and like in the Runiverse. So I guess what I'm getting at is like we're trying to think like really carefully about doing what's fair for everyone in these situations. So
yeah, we had a few examples from community members just like a few days ago on this exact topic. I don't know if you want to get into any specifics on that, but point being is like, you know, it's a very complex topic, and we think about it every day. And you know, what makes it even more complex is the laws themselves haven't even been written about a lot of this. There's a lot of murky territory as far as securities laws. So it's yeah, it's just one of the biggest components of this project that we think about every day.
yeah, we're trying to think about it carefully in this early stage when like the amounts of money that we're talking about are actually pretty trivial. And it's easy to kind of correct mistakes when it's small. But you know, we think this is going to be a next billion-dollar global franchise, and so we'll be doing innovative things in details that people haven't done with significant sums of money. Eventually, it's a goal anyway.
Yep. Now that you've talked about something incredibly complex, I want to talk about something very simple. I want to talk about quantum physics.
Whew, thank God I can
And I
turn the
thought I
brain
was the
off.
one being boring. Yeah, exactly.
No,
At least Meadows here.
yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about the quantum shadow actually. But actually, before I even get to that, I'm just looking through like the comment or the questions in the Secret Tower. Somebody was asking about the comic book issue 1, and they were asking who or do we know what wizards are going to appear in that issue? I'm not going to say yet. I want that to be a surprise for now.
Yeah, I mean we know who they are.
Yeah, but we don't want to reveal it yet. So,
Oh
some
yeah,
of this,
maybe we could rapid fire the questions that we're getting in Secret Tower. Is this good for you?
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, go for it.
Okay, Emma asks, are we doing anything for the upcoming fall and winter holidays? And the answer is yes. You'll find out when they come. But
No,
we are just so excited.
oh yeah. Just sorry, I'm very excited about especially the Halloween event. I'm not going to give any details now, but damn, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be totally different from last Halloween. It's a totally new idea, but I think it's going to be great.
I think
Yeah, and we want to bring in, as Bear says, we want to hug in some of our neighboring communities with the process too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. You guys will like it, and it's definitely very different. But yeah, you're going to like it.
Yep.
Okay, next up, someone wanted to hear about the map, which maybe you want to talk about that in your kind of quantum physics origin stories.
All I'm going to say is the map that was dropped today was a leak that was not supposed to happen, and that's all I'm going to say.
And then the biomes are amazing.
Yep.
Next, what's up for Souls? Well, Souls will play a special role in the Halloween event. We have Souls walk cycles in progress. We have maybe even some merch.
What?
Next
Yeah.
question. Next
Oh wait,
question.
sorry, real quick about the souls being incorporated. So, you know, it's like the whole token ecosystem of Forgotten Ruins is very rich. We've got a lot of tokens out there, and not just character tokens. We've got, you know, locks. We've got sacred flames. We've got a lot of tokens out there. one challenge that we at Magic Machine are always wrestling with is like this idea of like introducing new tokens or trying to give utility to tokens that are already out there. And generally, we want to always like lean as hard as we can into giving utility to tokens that already exist. So yeah, I guess that's all I really want to say is tokens that you already might have will be useful in the future. Let's just put it that way.
Ooh, that's fun. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, Lorepunk says, me and SPZ have a song. Did you download the song to play at the end of Wizard Wednesday?
Oh, I did not. I didn't even see this.
Oh, yeah. Lorepunk, if you could send Elf the song while we're chatting, and then he can download it, I think that'd be a good way to exit.
Or okay, yeah, sure. Yep, we can do that.
Unless you have something else, yeah.
Well, no, I was just going to say maybe Lorepunk can just play it, but no, I'll play
that
it.
Okay, sure. Either way.
Yep.
Bearsnake in the Web 3D web trailer looks like a Wii. There's like
My
a Wii
15
version
minutes of fame.
Bearsnake. Yeah.
It's my 15 minutes of fame.
Well, I'm on TV.
I'm retiring now.
Say regarding? Yeah. Is there anything you can say regarding that Webiverse video? No, I don't really have anything to say about it other than just we like them.
Yeah, they're great, and we will continue to be hanging out with them.
One of my favorite teams, actually. I love what they're building.
Just to jump
They're
in.
always... Oh, go ahead.
Dotta and Elf, if
Hi.
you look in the group chat that I sent you a link to the song, so you can play it from
great.
there. Or I can play it here, but I don't know where it would sound better.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
I'll message it to you again.
I think that was all the questions. There was one more question about like my favorite properties of sand. I saw this really cool TikTok where like this woman went to like a beach that was full of magnetite, and like she threw a magnet in the sand, and there was just like an incredible amount of iron ore sticking to the magnet, and thought that looked super fun. But I don't know why you're asking me that question. That's really obtuse.
We have another question from Steezy.
Okay, great. What is it?
In regards to the game, will there be any competitive aspects for us to fight for leaderboard positions, i.e. PvP or in-game? Yeah. Yep. Answer is yes. Jitzy, is there anything more worth embellishing beyond a yes?
Yes, for now. There's definitely going to be PvP aspects.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I was talking to Margaret on Discord. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So let's talk about quantum stuff real quick. That's what I titled the spaces thing. So the reason I want to talk about this is I get a lot of DMs from all of you lore masters out there, and one thing that keeps coming up is a lot of people are asking about the origin story of the Runiverse itself. They just want to know, like, how it came to be. What are the exact connections between the Runiverse and the physical world? And then I also get a lot of questions about just like key elements, like the quantum shadow and the quantum downs, because you all want to write lore about your characters' connection to all of this. And Magic Machine hasn't revealed any of this stuff, so you feel stuck. And so for a long time I've been saying that I don't want to just put all of these into a blog post and reveal it all just in that boring way. I want things like the comic or the show to reveal this stuff. And so I don't know. I'm still debating on whether I should share it sooner than later. If any of you feel strongly about this, just DM me. Maybe you want to know about these like deep secrets, and it's like you're tired of waiting for it. I don't know, but for now, let me just say a few things about the quantum shadow, and maybe this will help anyone who's stuck on lore with it. I'm not going to say exactly what it is just right now, but here's one way to think about it. Here's what's interesting to me about it at this very moment. it's to me it's interesting how if you look at the real world, how powerful people and organizations use the unknown to manipulate the masses. And so, for example, during the medieval era, like the aristocracy and the barons, they would tell the serfs that the forest is full of werewolves and witches and goblins, and this fear would keep the serfs in servitude. Um, they didn't know what was in the forest. They were terrified to go in there, so they just stayed. They just stayed working for the aristocracy. And this pattern of scapegoating is it's prevalent across all cultures and all times. It's even prevalent in modern America right now as we speak. And so, but what's great is like eventually the serfs realize that the forest is totally benign. And when you gain this knowledge about its true nature, you become free. Um, so, as far as the quantum shadow is concerned, I'm not interested at this moment in revealing the unknown. I'm actually just more interested in how people grapple with the unknown. And the fact that so many of you are like trying to crack this code through your lore is it means it's exactly you're doing exactly what the quantum shadow is intended to do. When your wizard is trying to crack the mystery of the quantum shadow, you are mirroring what the IRL wizards are doing when they pry into the mysteries of the universe. So the wizard Malevolent, you were DMing me about the quantum shadow, and you actually shared your lore with me that you had written, and amazingly. Your intuition on this thing was shockingly accurate for what the quantum shadow is. I think your lore was perfect, and this again like speaks to what I've been observing for months, which is the lore across the Runiverse. There's a surprising amount of continuity between it that's just happening automatically without even details being revealed from Magic Machine. And so, like what I'm realizing is like, I'm not trying to create a story out of thin air. I'm trying to carry the torch for the monomyth. And it's you all who are providing the flavor and the idiosyncratic aesthetics for all your characters in this monomyth. If you don't know what I mean when I say monomyth, it's this idea popularized by Joseph Campbell, that virtually all stories across humanity, across all cultures, across all time, all these stories are basically the same story. And there are archetypes within all of them that have maybe on the surface they are different, but their essence is nearly the same across all of them. And so, when you're talking about the quantum shadow, is that an archetype? Yes, it is. It's the archetype for the unknown. It's all the things that we don't know. It's the archetype of mystery itself. And so, if I just tell you exactly what it is, then the archetype's going to change. So yeah, I mean, I think just like the best thing I can tell you right now is just it's ride the monomyth. Use that as your base layer, and from that, your intuition will help you follow and find the continuity. Um, yeah, I mean I think that's all I want to say right now. But if you guys feel strongly about me revealing more of these like very core secrets about the origin of the Runiverse, then just like DM me or something, or just you're always free to like ask me questions about this stuff. But I think for the most part, I really want a lot of this to just play out in the show or the comic or whatever. That's my spiel on quantum stuff. um, and I think we have 10 minutes left. Actually, I want to call out another piece of really great cult content that I saw.
While you're doing that, if anybody wants to come up and make some comments before we do a lore reading, please feel free to request to speak.
Yes, please, always. So, Twitter user Paboom, Pabom. I am just now noticing these amazing little pixel films that you're making. I think Tad Major is helping you make these. And then Real Pixel Shop is helping. These little films are just delightful. Again, I can't believe I'm just now seeing these, but it's just like they're so good. Just these short little films. The animation is beautiful. There's story in them. There's just so much character in them. I love them. I just love them so much. So, Paboom, please keep doing those. They're great. Yeah, that's all for now, I guess. Let's see. I think we have a request. Moron of the North. All right. Hello, Moron. Can you speak? Hello.
Love the whole idea of the quantum downs and keeping it the mystery alive so that we can build it ourselves and see where it goes. But I also just wanted to pop in real quick and say the morons, we still have a few days left for submissions for the Wizards and Waifu contest. That concludes on Monday, August 15th. So feel free to hop into our Discord at 9:30 p.m. on Monday, and we'll announce the winner. Otherwise, keep an eye out on Twitter and see what kind of madness we cooked up.
I'm loving the waifu submissions. And can you remind us again what you're going to do with the winning waifu?
Yeah, so we're gonna take the winning submission, which is going to be a vote. We'll have everybody. There will be a week after the submissions end, where it's a popular vote. Everybody can just chime in on who they think is best, and we will select and we will take that winner and make merch with it. So we're going to. It's undecided right now, but for our fall collection of merch, think long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, crew neck sweatshirts, something like that. And then the winner is also going to get royalties for sales from the sweatshirts, and sales from the sweatshirts will also will be sending back to the DAO as well. So that's what our plans are for now. So yeah, get those submissions, and if anybody's still working on any.
Yep, they're so good. I love every one of them that I've seen. It's brilliant. Super fun. And I'm looking through the timeline, and I'm trying to find if I'm missing any of the great cult content. Dotta Bear, is anything standing out to you that I'm missing?
I mean, there's so much, but
Yeah, there's always so much. Code Nino posted another really fantastic Daniela illustration of the Wraith Captain Angus. Just gorgeous.
Did you talk about Tanya's when I was offline?
I did, yes. And one of the notable things from that is I'm slowly falling into the kobolds have ears camp and not horns, because Tanya just drew it so freaking adorable.
2 times in one day. Love it.
I know. Yeah, super cool. Oh, I think Oz did a really cool kobold illustration that then somebody turned it into black and white and made it like a death metal illustration.
Yeah, it's the commission piece by 15 kobolds.
Okay, Jitzy, tell me about this. You seem to know more about this than I do.
Heck yeah, I do. I would love to speak about it. So the kobolds got together and we just we want to make commission, through Oz. And I reached out to Oz and I was like, Oz, I got kobolds ready to just give you money to make us something. And that's kind of how all it was. It was the biggest commission I know of so far within the community when it comes to number wise. Of 15 unique kobolds are in that picture, all celebrating as kobolds do at the crossroads from sun up to sundown. Our yearly gathering with a bunch of ale, shenanigans, familiars. And it's perfect. I mean, we love Oz, and I think someone took it and then put a filter on it or something, and that's what we like to see, right?
Yeah.
One derivative become another derivative, and then keep on going.
Yeah, Oz is really good at doing these group portraits. I always love seeing those.
Super fun.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, Margaret, did you have a lore read today? Is that who's reading lore today?
I have a song to play for everybody today. I don't know if you arranged a lore reading as well. I don't know about it if you did.
Meeple Dad, are you here? Meeple Dad had a lore reading about the Kitsune, and he was involved production. I don't know if he's here though. No, you're here. Meeple Dad, do you want to come up and play your Kitsune lore, and then we can close with Margaret's song? I see that you're here. If you come up to speak, then you can do it, and if not, we'll just go to Margaret.
Yeah, we can do it next time. If we
Okay,
need
we'll do
to.
it next time. Yep.
Margaret, the stage is yours.
Okay, hey, I don't know if Ilias wants to come up as well.
Oh yeah.
But just to make what I've got, if you go to my pinned tweet on my profile, if it's okay with you folks, I'll post it in the in this Twitter space.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm not really. Let's see, how do I do that? Okay, here we are. Share with Wizard Wednesday. So it should be in the space now. So basically, Ilias and I wrote this song. I've sung it on Wizard Wednesday when Dialectic, Kukulabanze, Meph, and Alexis Ohanian were on, coinciding with the release of the first Beast. We wrote this song, Chimera. And it's a real honor that they trusted us with their beautiful, powerful beast. You folks have heard this song in a cappella mode, and Ilias worked really, really hard with me to produce this song. He came up with all of the instrumental arrangements and played them. He sang the backup vocals, and he produced this amazing song. Yeah. So I'm happy to play this for you, and also just
Please, yeah.
a little announcement as well. Like, a lot of people have been like, when are you guys going to drop an album? Well, we've got 5 songs that we're working on for a Wizard Music EP. We're calling ourselves Magic Music. And as soon as the DAO comes back from its legaling break, we're going to put a proposal together for the DAO to own the IP and the licensing rights for this album. And we kind of hope that the way the comic book reaches out to comic fandom, that this music will reach out to music fans and help proliferate Wizards and cult content throughout the world. So do you want me to play it, or are you guys going to play it on your end?
No, why don't you play it from your end? I think that'd be perfect.
Okay, well, I hope that this works. I'm playing it on my computer, so here we go. This is Chimera. I've been training my mind for a while. It's a little... Oh, it stopped. Oh, dear.
It's strong opening, though.
Let's try this again. I'm not sure it's working. Can you guys try it from your end?
I will close the show with it for sure. Which is almost ready. But Meeple, I noticed that you came up. Before we close the show, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, sure. How's it going, everybody? So we've been running these Saturday D&D games, and a different sort of beast or notorious character of the Runiverse is the sort of the focus of each one. So the next game is happening this Saturday, and the teaser is live now. RYF is sponsoring this one. This one's about the Kitsune. So we'll let Margaret close out with her lore, but I'll post the link to the podcast. It's just a 3-minute little spooky teaser about the sort of what is to come on Saturday, and then the full podcast of the D&D game will be live a week or 2 after the game runs. So pretty exciting.
Amazing. If people are interested in playing in one of the games with you, what do they have to do?
So the first thing to do is obviously head to our Discord. That's where all the party starts. And then there's the D&D channel where people who are playing with Chris on Thursdays gather and hang out. And then I pick people up from there and take them over to the Enchanted Garden, which is where we're scheduling these Saturday night games once a month. And yeah, the next one. So this Saturday is full. The next one in September is going to be hosted by Merlin, and it's going to be a Zombie King CEO adventure. So I'm not sure exactly what the detail. Maybe we're his goons, or maybe we're trying to, overthrow the evil CEO. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens. But for now, tune in. I'll post it in the Discord and on the Twitter and all that for the Kitsune piece. And Margaret, take it away. If you haven't, I'll give a quick Margaret shout out too. If you haven't listened to the Weekly Wizard workshop from last Thursday, Margaret gave a beautiful, beautiful talk about poetry and songwriting and sort of how to find inspiration and creativity and turn that into your own secret sauce. We're all poets on the inside. You just got to find a way to bring it out. And she gives some great tips and tools to do that. So go listen to that. I'll post links to that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sorcerer Ilias has managed to get up, so I think he had a couple of words.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Hey.
Oh, great. Okay, fine. Yeah, I had trouble getting on. Yeah, no, I just wanted to drop in. This is Ilias, aka SPZ, Spazzy, whatever you want to call me. But yeah, I just want to say that it's been such a joy to do this amazing song with Margaret, because Marge has such a unique talent, I found, and I've actually had in my notebook for months. Geez, it's been almost half a year, I guess, when you had that, like, was that December song or something, right?
Yeah, that was my first one that I sang.
Yeah, I heard that, and I wrote down in capital letters in my notebook, was like, do a song with Lorepunk. And it's been sort of a thing since then, and I'm just so super happy that we found a way to collaborate. And I just it's been so great. I had so much fun just sitting down with your lovely melodies and with my guitar, and I even caught my daughter at 4 years. I was sitting up in my attic, kind of jamming away, trying to find the way through this song, and then I suddenly heard her going, "And I wonder, 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 wonder why." And she doesn't even speak English, so it was a moment. But yeah, we have plans to do so much more, and I'm glad we found each other, Margaret.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I've only heard the first few seconds of it, but I just want to quickly add that I don't know if this was your inspiration, but it sounds like. Have you guys seen that movie? It's this animated film from the '80s. It's called The Last Unicorn.
Yeah.
And this song sounds like it would fit right in that soundtrack. If you haven't seen this film, it's just an amazing film. It's so underrated. The soundtrack is amazing. So anyway, this song you wrote reminded me of that. So before I play it, is there any last words?
Yeah, basically, we are going to be making this proposal to the DAO to give the licensing rights to the DAO in exchange for giving us some money to work on the song. And, we really hope that, work on the EP, excuse me, and we really hope that these songs, including one called Put Thy Rune Upon the Door, I hope all these songs help introduce people who've never heard of NFTs to Wizards. And thank you so much, Ilias. Thank you to Feckless, to Pixel Crow, who helped make the video and the scroll. And yeah, take it away.
All right. Well, this has been Elf, Dotta, Lorepunk, Matto, Bearsnake, Jitcy, Meeple Dad, Moron of the North, and Sorcerer Elias channeling out from the Quantum Downs. GN, everybody.
I had been trailing my mind, wow. It's the little things that happen in the middle of the night. Go on, they say love is blind, wow. It's the little things that happen in the middle of the night. Roll far, follow the guiding star to a gate among the hills, and we were lost. Nobody's seen it before. Gather, all hold a key or a spell. Nobody could bring me down while I would wait past the door. And I wondered why. Everyone started to talk. Well, of the little things that happen in the middle of the night. They situated for the block. Whoa, for the little things that happen in the middle of the night. Suddenly, light shone from the golden keys. Felt starlight so bright and clean. And the lights falling free one by one. Turtle got door open to distant sea. Chimera without his soul. Stepping out from the light of the strange sun. And I wonder why. And I wonder why. I've been changing my mind. Wow. It's the little things that happen in the middle of the night. Gate closes quickly behind. Wow. It's the little things that happen. Oh, be full of magic and might. Higher than the eyes could see. Dignified and strange and free. His call goes straight to the ground. Drums and reeds in the valleys answering. Longing for the strangest thing. When all of this song will found. And I wonder. Yeah, I wonder why. It's the little things that happen in the middle of the night. The middle of the night.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. I knew it was going to be good, but it was even better than I thought that it was going to be.
Yeah, I was gonna sign off, but I can't sign off just yet. That was incredible.
That was, yeah. I mean, the composition, the voice. Oh my God, we're gonna have to get this on the radio. Okay, I've work to do.
Do it, Bear.
I want to use these songs in the show.
Yeah.
You know the way to do it.
I get
Thank you
goosebumps
so
every
much.
time I hear it, and I've played it a million times, and I've worked on it a million hours. I love it. Thank you.
You can tell it's beautiful. The guitar solo is amazing, and the way you say night is sung, and you come up on that note, it gets me.
Yep. Very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret. Okay, let me try that again. Channeling out from the Quantum Downs. This has been Elf Dotta, Lore
And
Prompt, Matatsuki, Bearsnake, Jitcy, Meeple Dad, Sorcerer Elias, and GN, everybody.
Nice.
GN.